Hello, my name is Anatoly Motkin, and I am president of StrategEast. Today, our topic is the IT industry moves to Georgia, new opportunities and tax incentives. First, let me introduce our distinguished speakers. Mikheil Khidureli, CEO of Enterprise Georgia. Avtandil Kasradze, chairman of Georgia's Innovation and Technology Agency. Khurtsidze, head of International Taxation Division in Ministry of Finance of Georgia. Sergey Ageenko, software engineering director at EPAM Systems, and Givi Sartania, CEO of Wandio, Georgian IT company. The IT industry is one of the most dynamic sectors of the economy, not only in the sense that it grows rapidly, but also in the sense of flexibility and speed of decisions made, responding to the changes in the surrounding world. Today, amid the COVID-19 pandemic, we see that the IT industry, which has quickly moved to remote work, is looking for opportunities to use this crisis as an opportunity. And today, we will discuss one of these opportunities for the IT industry at our webinar. We will discuss the new incentives that Georgia has created recently to the global IT industry to become even more attractive. In order for global and Eurasian IT entrepreneurs not only to invest in local startups, but also to transfer part of their production activity here, start their operation in Georgia, or completely relocate their activity to Georgia. So what exactly Georgia is offering us today? We'll discuss it with our speakers, and I'm honored to introduce Mikheil Khidureli, CEO of Enterprise Georgia. Please, floor is yours.
Thank you, Anatoly. First of all, I want to thank you and StrategEast for organizing this event. I think it is very timely. That way we see that there is a growing interest in Georgia's IT sector, and of course, I want to thank Avtandil Kasradze, who also has a birthday today, and want to wish him a successful collaboration between our agencies, which we already do have. So I will just maybe jump straight to the presentation, but before I do that, I want to say that Enterprise Georgia is a main agency for three main directions. It is investment attraction, it is expert promotion, and it's business development. The good thing is that all these three directions are working simultaneously with each other and supplementing each other. So today's topic, of course, is the investment attraction and providing you with enough information and to show you the potential of the investment potential of the country generally, and then drilling down to the more details about the potential in the IT industry. So let me just share my screen, and please confirm that you see my screen. Just 1 sec. Can you all see my screen?
Okay. We did.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start with listing down some unique selling points about Georgia. As you know, we are strategically located between East and West, and we have a very strategic location, which is translating into the time proximity and cultural similarities to the Western Hemisphere. We are number 7 in terms of easiest places to do business in the world. Just to take a note, we're just next to the United States in the ranking. We're number 3 in terms of least tax burden countries with a total tax rate of 9.9%. We have multilingual, skilled, and competitively priced workforce. We have a very high-speed internet and robust network connectivity. I think this is a very important point for IT and business services industry. And of course, for an investor, one thing is to work in the country, another thing is to live in the country. So we have a very affordable living and business operating cost in Georgia. In addition to this, I'm just going to provide you and show you some additional rankings. Georgia ranks number 12 in terms of economic freedom. Georgia is also number 4 in terms of safety. So Georgia is 4th safest place in the world, equally important for investors as for international travelers. Georgia ranks 1st in terms of least need to interact with the government. So this is a very interesting and also confusing ranking. Confusing because it means that you don't have to deal with the government. And our agency and all the speakers from here are here to coordinate all the issues that you're gonna have. But this ranking shows you that Georgia has such a low bureaucracy that an investor can bypass the government and do everything on their own without this big hassle and documentation and procedures from the government. So Georgia ranks #1 in terms of least need for the business to interact with the government. Georgia also ranks #1 in terms of rule of law in Eastern Europe and Central Asian region. This is also a very interesting slide showing how much time you save on paperwork. And we have deliberately picked up the OECD high income average and we have compared it to Georgia. And you can see that starting from the things like starting a business, followed up by registering a property, construction permits, number of tax payments, time to export, you actually save a lot of times. In some cases, you actually save months. In some cases, you actually save weeks. So for example, starting a business in Georgia takes just 1 day. In addition to this, we have a very skilled young and multilingual talent pool, specifically interesting for IT sector. You can see that more than 16,000 students are graduating from STEM-related programs. Also, in terms of multilingual skills, Georgian multilingual skill capacity is estimated somewhere like 500,000. Mainly, we talk about English, German, Russian, French, and Italian speakers in major cities of Georgia. And generally, business services and business process outsourcing is I would say, the fastest growing investment direction in Georgia right now. We have every year new companies coming and investing in Georgia and providing different business services and IT services from the country. Drilling down a little bit more on the IT sector, and of course, today we have, as I said, Georgian Innovation and Technology Agency's chairman, Avtandil Kasradze, who will be able to elaborate much more on the IT ecosystem in Georgia, because the GITA is the focal point for developing IT ecosystem and technologies in the country. I'm just only going to mention that the turnover of IT and business services sector in 2018 estimated to 130 million USD. Also, export in IT business services is 84.5 million USD. And a very important thing to mention is that employees in offshore IT and business service outsourcing is around 5,000 to 600, which means that there is a fast developing IT and business process service sector, and there is an organic growing demand for IT specialists on local market, which is a very good signal, of course, for international IT companies like yourselves. And of course, we have some big names as well, some of them attending today's online conference like EPAM. This is a company that has recently entered Georgian market. We have companies like Ageenko, Prodware, and you can see all the other names here, which is of course giving investors an additional confidence in the market. In terms of the workforce specifically in IT sector, Georgia offers very competitive salaries, especially if you compare it to Europe, both in IT and administrative positions. So on the right, on the top right and below, you can see that we have specifically listed down the approximate salaries for IT specialists and IT positions, and also for administrative positions. So starting in IT specialist positions, like for middle developer, somewhere around 1,300 USD, and as minimum as 500 USD for a desktop support specialist. And the same thing goes to the average monthly fixed pays in administrative positions like legal advisor, up to 800 USD, and as minimum as the receptionist that you pay 335 USD. We have a quote from Everest Group that is actually very rightly mentioned that prices in Georgia, you actually save 80% compared to UK and save 60% compared to Poland. In terms of the living and business operating costs, there are some additional figures. You can see that in electricity, drinkable water, average broadband, 5G internet, and also like things like taxi fares and rental prices for both for accommodation and also for the office, you actually save a big sum of money compared to many competitive countries. We have a slide about the taxation system. I'm not going to elaborate a lot on the taxation system because we have today representative from Ministry of Finance, Ms. Mari, who will also, I want to thank, and also she will be able to provide you with additional information, and especially the new tax incentives that we have for IT sector. We have, the virtual zone entity status, which means that exporting IT services are exempted from profit tax. And we have a very new and I think very important tax incentive for international IT companies. Profit and personal income taxes will be reduced to 5%. But generally, our taxation system, as I said, is very, very low. So we are asked from the investors a lot why we do not have things like cashbacks, and the answer is very simple. The countries who have a cashback have a high taxation. So our taxation is so low, it's very, very difficult to go below that. I think there are only 2 countries in the world that have a least tax burden taxation system. Both of them, I think, are just some islands in the ocean. So I'm not going to elaborate more on the taxation system because we have a representative from Ministry of Finance, and you will listen more in detailed information from her. And last but not the least, as we said, we are the main agency for business development, investment attraction, and export support. But to drill down the direction of investment attraction, you can utilize services from our agency and then from our investment team. Things like we can provide you general statistics and data about business operating costs. We do sector research. Of course, we provide you with access to all government levels, coordinating things with different government and non-government organizations. Of course, assistance in location selection for the space for your offices, and also organizations of site visits as well. And of course, after the investment is made and the office is established, we do provide you with aftercare services, very proactive aftercare services in supporting you for further expansion or taking some constant feedback. This is very briefly about the general investment climate in Georgia, and then opportunities in IT sector. Of course, we very much hope that very soon we will be able to physically host you here in Georgia, because online conference can no way replace the affect and the feelings that you're gonna get both in terms of business and also for the leisure once you come physically to Georgia. Once again, thank you, Anatoly, for the opportunity, and I hope that we're going to see more and more international companies, IT companies, coming to Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mikheil, for this comprehensive presentation. And the next speaker would be Avtandil Kasradze, who is head of JITA, and actually his agency is in charge of the wholesale digital development in this country. And please explain us what actually the international IT companies that come to Georgia could expect for. Actually, how does the IT, let's say, environment in Georgia looks like today, and what are the plans for the future?
First of all, hello everyone, and I would like to thank also definitely the StrategEast and Anatoly for organizing this very important online conference. We would love to host you here in Georgia, in Tbilisi, but right now usually we are working virtually online. And also I would like to thank Mikheil Khidureli, CEO of Enterprise Georgia, for providing such a wonderful presentation. And I'm always proud when I'm listening to Mikheil that I'm representing country of Georgia, who has a really amazing environment for businesses. And I think that this is opportunity for every businesses, even big international companies. I will share my presentation as well. Can you see my screen? Very good. As it was mentioned, we are agency under Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development. Actually, we have been established same day, same year, together with Enterprise Georgia, and we are focusing the innovation and technology development part here in Georgia. I would like to say that these new IT laws which will be elaborated later on by our colleague from Ministry of Finance, it's really important incentive for the IT companies, and we do think that this initiative can really revolutionize this industry here in Georgia, can employ a lot of people, and also we can get a lot of indirect effects in our innovation ecosystem by creating a lot of very interesting products here, but also maybe when we will be getting new startup ideas and new startup companies from these big international IT companies who will come in Georgia. We as a governmental agency, we are focusing on innovation ecosystem development. We have lots of different programs in order to actually spread this virus, innovation virus for the people, and then in a positive sense. When we talk virus right now, it's not positive things, but to spread innovation virus in order to engage more people in the ecosystem, which is very important and has vital importance for the country's economic development, because you know Georgia is a small country with not big like say natural resources and etc. So we want to capitalize from the intellectual resources that exist in Georgia, and innovation is mainly one of the important aspects that we are focusing. I would like to say that we have an access to finance program for the innovative companies. So mostly these innovative companies who are creating the globally competitive products is mainly IT related field, and mainly these products are created in IT companies. So we have also access to finance program for the IT developers or IT companies who are creating some new products, some know-how that will be creating in the Georgian company and can have chance commercialization outside of the Georgia. We have some like micro grants, we have medium level grant, and we have bigger grants. And a very important aspect in all of the grant is the decision-making process. And in this decision-making process, no government bureaucrats whatsoever are included in the decision-making process. So government is not making decision who is getting the money that is provided by the government. We usually have big names from Silicon Valley who are coming here in Georgia and judging our startups. So they will be evaluating you in the first stage when we have a written application, and also in the last stage when you have a chance to meet angel and venture investors, mainly from Silicon Valley, and we have big names who are coming in Georgia, and actually decision made by them. It's also big validation for your future investments, which is very important for your development. Just to name some of them. So for last call for 100,000 lari granting program, we had vice president of the ORAC, for example, in the judging panel. We had founder and CEO of the venture investment fund Catapult in Silicon Valley, CEO and founder of the co-CEO and founder of Garage Technology Venture, also from Silicon Valley, and this kind of people. So your applications is are in very good hands in Georgia. So this is very important for you to know. We have also, I would like to say that recently in 2020, we hosted and 500 Accelerator, which is one of the top accelerator. It's actually in top 3 accelerator in the world, who entered in Georgian market, and they opened fully operational regional office here in Georgia, and they have full acceleration program here in Georgia. And this is not only for the Georgian startups. We opened application also from the regional wide startups, and we received application from more than 70 countries actually, and also we selected some of them. We selected from United States, we selected from Estonia, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, Poland, Slovakia, and etc. So very interesting startups, and they entered this startup. They relocated their businesses here in Georgia. They are now registered as the Georgian companies, and they are very happy about it because they actually actually saw what is the privilege to be the Georgian company and operate from Georgia and very easily sell your products in all around the world, especially when we're talking about IT industry. But even without IT industry, as Mr. Mikheil Khidureli mentioned, we have a free trade agreement in most of the most part of the world. So it's definitely a very good environment, and the 500 entering in Georgia was very good signal, and we are now seeing lots of big international accelerators are interested to come here in Georgia and work with the Georgian startups. We are also creating infrastructure for innovation, and we have like the coverage in almost all big cities right now, except Khurtsidze, but we will have also in Khurtsidze very soon. This is also multifunctional centers where there is also like big laboratories for prototypes, but also for the IT developers and IT companies, there is a free co-working space opportunity, an amazing environment that we can give to your IT specialists free of charge and work from there. Amazing environment where they can meet people with same ideas, like same aspirations, and it's amazing place to work here in Georgia. And it's good that it's only not in Tbilisi. Also, this is very important slide maybe for the IT companies, because this shows government commitment that we will be spending for next 2 years, $2.5 million US in order to train professionally 3,000 new IT people. So at the end of the 2 years, we will have 3,000 new IT professionals, which will be certified by the international certification exam. So we are covering all the expenses, and we already announced tender, and then we have selected actually the Bulgarian company who won the international tender with to train 500 pilot program in this 3,000 IT training program in Georgia. In January next year, we will announce new tender for 2,000 remaining 2,500 IT professionals. And this is also opportunity for the IT companies who also have IT training modules, and I think almost all IT companies in the world has the IT training module in their company. So it's also opportunity for them to participate in this tender, and we are encouraging you to do that. Definitely. This is just to say that we as agency, we are working on all stage for development of innovation ecosystem. We are working people who does not have any idea, and we have a separate program of people who have idea and who have prototype, who have minimum viable product, who already entered in the market and who are on the growth stage. But in all stage, definitely we are working on the legal framework side, and the IT law is one of the most important, I would say, the incentives for the IT company and to create the new innovation ecosystem in Georgia. And we are happy to support you in all stages, whether you want to come here in Georgia, whether you want to find people in order to employ here, whether you want to create some training model for them, or you want to find new directions here. So we are happy to support you and to be your friends and colleagues, and then work together for the development of Georgia's innovation ecosystem here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Avtandil. And the next speaker is Khurtsidze. We know that the new tax regime, special tax regime, has been introduced a number of weeks ago for international IT companies who start their operation or hold their operation, conduct their operation from here, from Georgia. So please tell us about this and what are the new incentives for international companies to start working from Georgia.
Okay, thank you, Anatoly. Good afternoon to everyone, and please accept from my side as well, Anatoly, huge appreciation for organizing such an important webinar. So today I'm going to, as you mentioned already, give a presentation on international company, and this is a new tax regime introduced by the government of Georgia, and it aims at providing preferential tax treatment to companies operating in IT industries and shipping. But today our webinar is about IT IT companies, and so I will cover only IT companies in depth. So just a moment, I will share my screen. Can you see my presentation? Okay. So. Let me start with the tax incentives, as you mentioned many times, for international companies. So what kind of tax incentives are applicable for international companies? First, this is a personal income tax, and it is a 5% instead of 20%. So income from employment at international company shall be taxed at a rate of 5%, as I mentioned, instead of standard 20%. The next, this is a corporate income tax, and this is a 5% as well, instead of 15%. It is also important information here that two expenses, such as cost of salaries paid to citizens of residents to Georgia and cost of R&D activities in the field of allowed activities, can be fully deducted from the tax base of profit tax, and it means that profit tax shall be reduced. So this is an additional tax credit on salaries and R&D activities. Then comes withholding tax on dividends. This is 0, so there are no tax at dividends at source, and besides, these dividends shall not be included in the gross income of the dividend received company. And the last one, this is a property tax. This is also exempted, but this should be used only in case of allowed activities, and this should not be related also land. So after obtaining the status of international company, the company shall enjoy the reduced taxation, and this is a taxation incentives what are set forth by the tax code of Georgia in details. So the next, my slide is about what are the conditions for obtaining the status of international company. The international company shall be granted if there are two criteria, so you should meet the two criteria. The first, this is a company is registered in Georgia and performs allowed activities in Georgia. So what is registered in Georgia? It means that it should be Georgian resident enterprise in order to meet the criteria, and then it comes performed allowed activities in Georgia. It means that persons with a status must undertake its core income generating activities in Georgia, and it means that it should ensure to have adequate number of full-time employees with necessary qualification and incurring an adequate amount of operating expenditures here in Georgia. This is the first criteria, and second important criteria is that the company should have at least 2 years experience in allowed activities. Beside here is also very important information that these services from allowed activities shall only deliver to the persons of which place of effective management or registration are located outside of Georgia. So this is altogether the main criteria in which the status of international company shall be granted. Besides, so we talked, I mentioned many times allowed activities, and the ordinance number 619 of the government of Georgia set forth exhaustively what is allowed activities. And here on my presentation, you see, I will not read out all of them, but I will mention some of them. This is a software publishing of computer games, computer programming, computer consultancy and related activities, production and delivery of a digital product, website development or delivery, remote administration of the system, access or download to software, banner advertising, blocking programs, and etc. So this is only allowed activities, and this is an exhaustive list. So what is listed in what is defined under the ordinance. Let's move to another slide, and this is a procedures for obtaining the status of international company. So there are specific procedures you have to apply. And first, this is that you have to submit an application form to Georgia Revenue Service. So you can do this writingly or electronically. There are two options of doing this, and the application form shall contain the information. And this is quite simple information, I can say. This is a registration data of the enterprise, such as the company's identification number, name, and legal form, address of the enterprise. It should be legal address and factual address as well. The list of allowed activities enterprise wants to be granted the status. You also have to indicate what allowed activities you are going to carry out in Georgia as a place of providing service, because I mentioned previously that it should be in Georgia, as a core income generated activities should be related in Georgia, should be carried out in Georgia, and as a date of submission of application and the signature of an authorized person. Besides, this application should be attached with the documentation confirming the performance of the relevant activities. So as soon as the Revenue Service receives this application form, then Georgia Revenue Service starts to verify the compliance of the application form with the requirement established by the ordinance, and this is the ordinance of the government number 619, and the time frame of this is within 10 days. So if Revenue Service then identify some kind of gaps or shortcomings in the application forms, then it's sent back to the taxpayers and asked to address these shortcomings. And there is also some reasonable time, and as soon as these shortcomings or gaps will be addressed by the taxpayer, then Revenue Service send this application form together with documentation to the Minister of Finance, and then Minister of Finance send itself this documentation to the government of Georgia. So final step here is the government of Georgia. Government of Georgia shall issue the decree on the granting on the status of international company. So itself the final government of Georgia examine information providing by Minister of Finance and issue decree, and then international taxpayers of the international company will be notified if it is granted of international company status or not. And I want to mention here that there is no time limit of the granting the status. So unless there is any kind of breach of having this status, you can enjoy of this status. And the next and last information from my side, this is criteria in which case the status shall be abolished. The first criteria here is itself that international company, a person with the status of international company, submit an application to the Revenue Service and asking to revocate the status of the international company. Next, there is a criteria is that a person with the status of international company carried out activities other than those activities allowed under the Article first annexed 2 of the ordinance, and income exceeds the threshold set forth by this article. So I mentioned that this company should only carry out allowed activities, but here is also some exception. They can carry out other activities, but it should not exceed 2% of the income received by international company from the allowed activities. So it can be said that is a single or one-time activities or like this, not to be, and if you carry out these activities, the status should not be abolished. Otherwise, if you exceed this threshold, which is defined by the ordinance, then status will be revoked. And the third criteria of abolishing the status here is that a person does not meet any more the conditions based on which the status was granted. And what is the conditions here? As I mentioned in my previous slide, there is a specific conditions international company have to meet, and if it is a breach or there is no any more as the meeting of this criteria, in such case this status should be abolished. For example, there are activities no more carried out in Georgia, or maybe there is no Georgian enterprise or like this. So this is the criteria in which previously or initially you meet and you take the status. And the procedure here is the same. The revenue service is an authority here who checks the compliance every year annually, and as soon as the breach will be defined, or then it's sends the information to the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Finance then asks government to revoke the status, and so the status will be abolished, and no tax exemption shall be applicable anymore to this international company. So this was my presentation, and if you have any additional questions and I want to cover here in my presentation, I will be more than happy to respond to them later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you for this comprehensive presentation. And I would like to pass the floor to Mr. Sergey Ageenko, who is Software Engineering Director at EPAM Systems. And the EPAM started their operation in Georgia this autumn. And I would like to ask him a very simple question. Why Georgia? What were the incentives for you? And you started even this process before all this tax regime, new special tax regime came into power in Georgia. Please tell us, how do you feel here, and what were the incentives and what are the plans?
Yeah, hi everyone, and thank you, Anatoly. Let me start from the presentation also. So I'll try to explain why we are here, what is EPAM. Just confirm that you can see my presentation. Okay. So let's first of all, a few words about what EPAM is, what is our mission as a company. As you said, it's a very known international company, but we are just consultants, designers, architects, engineers who helps or who enables our customers to be competitive and disruptive in the marketplace through the innovative technology solutions. You know us, but you can better even know the products we were participated. They are listed on this slide, and you can see the well-known not just product but also names like Facebook, Uber, Google, and our engineers are part of delivering those world-famous products, and they're proud to be of this part. Where we are geographically, you can see that we are now represent on more than 35 countries. It covers almost each continent where we're present. We are doing our business, and from which places we are doing delivery. A little bit about numbers. Just recently, EPAM has been named as #1 in IT services company in Fortune 100 fastest growing company in this year. So it's the second year consequently when EPAM was named in this ranking. So a few numbers about the company. So company was established in 1993. So it's almost 27 years as we're functioning. We are a public company who are present on New York Stock Exchange. Revenue for the just recent quarter, third quarter in 22 was more than 650 millions. We have about 38 employees, almost 34,000 of them are engineering staff, so people who are making delivery. And as I told before, we are present in more than 35 countries. Couple of thoughts about industry where we are doing our services. It's hardly to name industry where we are not present, so it's almost all the industries which are present in the world we are participating in. Most of our activities are on financial services and business transformation in media, but as a world leader in digital transformation, we are providing technology transformation for many well-known companies in the world. And geography, majority of our customers are located in North America and Western Europe, but we still we are still have plans to go on Asia region and also CIS. Here is a list of companies and products from what we are doing for our clients. You can see some well-known names, and we are looking forward to introducing Georgia to all our global clients as well. Okay, now a few words answering to Anatoly's question, EPAM Georgia and why we are here. So first of all, we are maybe not officially, but we are present in Georgia already for several months, and we took part in the program which Gita did with StrategEast here in Tbilisi, and we participated in IT Hub to train the most talented students and provide them possibility to become IT specialists. So actually it was a good partnership even for us. It was a good experience, and together with Gita and StrategEast we were able to share our experience and educating. So about 25 our mentors, our experienced specialists shared their knowledge and experience during the training programs with Georgian students. So program itself, it's not going to be over. I believe it will be continued, but we have first graduates. There are some numbers of people who participated, so good sign that from 37 students who were signed for the program, almost 95% were able to complete. So literally one or two people were not able to complete all the programs by their different reasons, but at the same time we had a couple of guys who joined just during the program. And tomorrow we're having a session to graduate all people who completed this program. So today we can say that after the first step, EPAM started operations in Georgia. For us, as a global leader in digital transformations, it was always strategy to finding and localizing and training IT specialists in the country, and Georgia became in the list of our countries where we have a delivery center now. And we are proud to say this. So thanks for Georgia's recent efforts which made by the government to make a good conditions, business conditions for IT companies. And we believe it will give us opportunity to effectively operate in Georgia and build strong and delivery center which will provide excellence for our clients. And at the same time, we will provide unique opportunities for Georgian IT specialists to join us and to get experience working on Fortune 500 clients and make solutions for them. Just for information, we even have on our website a page welcome people from all over the world to join EPAM Georgia. So I mentioned about the training we are doing, so we're educating people in the local market, but we also understand that to make actually IT specialists here most experienced one, to get up to speed with the new technology, we have to promote communities. We expect that they will participate not just in the local community, but in worldwide community, exchanging their knowledge with the top people, not just from our country, but in their industry, in their particular technology, and even talking with the people locally here, which they will combine it into one single community. It also will bring benefits. So this is how we are going to grow our local people. And I will try to run our promo rolling. I'm not sure, let me know if you can see sound. So we already published this, how we are promoting Georgia for IT specialists. Oops. And that's all. I want to say one more time, Didi Madloba for everyone who was helping us in EPAM Georgia to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergey. And I would like to pass the floor to Givi Sartania, CEO of Wandio. And the last tax regime actually does not only isn't the doing of business for international companies here in Georgia, but also to local companies who work with international clients. So I would like to ask you, what's the impact of the last developments on your company and your activity here, and actually to hear your inputs on this.
Thank you, Anatoly. It is my pleasure to be here. Do you hear my voice? Okay, I will try to share my screen. Hope you see presentation. Thank you. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Givi, CEO and co-founder of Wandio. A few words about Wandio, who we are. We call ourselves nerdy wizards because we believe that we started to do magic on local market. We started like 6 years ago and passed very heavy and how to say challenging paths to come here. We've done over 100 projects. This includes small, big, and mid-sized projects for local market mainly, but we also work with international customers. Right now, we are 80 employees on board, and we look forward to go like more numbers. Our dream is to become like leading outsourcing company, a software development company on the local market and in the region. We hope that this new incentive will help us to go more international, which is, by the way, our main goal for the upcoming next years. To say more few about our services, these are custom software development mainly, but we don't do just custom software. We have team augmentation services. We do product development, full product development outsource, which means we take from the idea and help our customers to become successful. And we also do digital product designs as well. Here are some of our customers. I cannot, it is much less names and much less numbers than EPAM presented, but these are really big names on local market. Those include banks, retailers, gambling, telecom industry, and so on. In order to get your sense, I would like to present some of the projects we've done, and this will be just a few words. For banking industry, we definitely work on digital products, and those include mobile bankings or loyalty solutions, or maybe some digital portals for subscription and so on. For fintechs, we've worked with two greatest, biggest companies, local, TBC Pay and OPA, develop digital solutions, websites, mobile solutions, and so on. We work with like retailers and not only wholesalers. We do CRM for them. We did Cofista and like POS terminal. We do for local accounting softwares, add-on solutions like ERP, mobile solutions, and so on. We do e-commerce, which is like trending right now because of pandemic, and we do work with local greatest companies on the local market. And of course, we collaborate with startups, and these are local startups and international startups. Those are, some of them are very known names on the local market and very successful companies, and we took part in the development of their solutions on the market. Briefly, this is all about Wandio and what we are doing. And in order to answer your questions, I would like to say that on one hand, this initiative for sure is very, very interesting, and it will bring a lot of like EPAM companies to local market. This will increase number of local IT specialists, and as well it will get Georgia more attractive for international customers, and this will help us as well to achieve our goals. On the other hand, we as a local company struggle, and we need to do our best to be like successful in this upcoming years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Givi. And Mikheil, are you with us? Yeah. So I actually would like to address a question to you. Everything that we discussed today could also be discussed in a, let's call it, peaceful times. Today we're amid the pandemic, and it's different. It's more complicated to arrive here. It's not easy also even to get some maybe services, I mean, like civil services, registration services. So could I ask you, what are the special solutions amid those hectic times of pandemic that actually still allows to all this special regime to ease the entrance to Georgian market, even for individuals and also for the companies? And also, how do you assist them to register company, and what other assistance could you provide, please?
Okay, this is a good question. So we have a special application form, which we will be able to, my colleague will also share with everyone. This is the business visit form, which means that if you want to visit Georgia for business purposes, which will be the purpose of the visit of the IT companies, you just fill in the information. You just mention who is the party who is inviting you. In this case, it will be either you or either us or either JITA. And it's possible to, then it goes down to, there's a special committee on the government, and then they have to decide you to permit the visit without the quarantine and with the COVID tests, which I think you do every 72 hours. So, I mean, it's pretty simple process. It's not guaranteed, of course, but I mean, we are here to help you with JITA also to kind of recommend and say that these guys are coming to as our guests. So it will definitely simplify the process.
So thank you for this, but if I'll absolutely simplify I'll ask you to absolutely simplify the answer. Who is the focal point? If I'm, for example, an IT entrepreneur who works in Central or Eastern Europe, and I decided to relocate part or say of my activity or to start a new activity here in Georgia, what is my first step?
You ask for the first step to start operation. I mean, to start a business. You mean? Okay, it's again, as I said, this is, I guess, us. So we do provide. We have Natia Parakhilashvili from our team, who is not a speaker but attending the conference. So she will be the focal point for any IT company. So she will be your investment advisor, which means that all the questions that you have, you just have to list them down, and we will just, as soon as possible, answer all of those. And also coordinate with different things. Opening your business is very simple. You know that we have a special building where you just go there with a very simple documentation, and you just register the company in just maybe 2 hours. So this is very simple. I mean, it doesn't even have to mention the procedure. And also you can very easily open the bank account as well. I think this is one of the best things in Georgia. I mean, in terms of starting the operations, it's very simple. When you go down to searching for the site, for the rental space, of course, you just tell us approximately what the square meter, how many square meters you need, what is the area. Then you tell us whether it's A class in terms of the quality, or it's a B class or C class. And then according to this, we'll just show you at least 5 or 6 different places in Tbilisi and other cities.
And if I'm right, your agency, Enterprise Georgia, is currently working on preparing a leaflet of those who decide.
Yeah, very soon we're gonna have a very specific leaflet mentioning not just business things, just livability things, like whether do we have the Russian schools, for example, the schools in Russian language. I mean, whether do we have things like somebody asks about like pet pet houses for special like hotels for pets and this kind of stuff. All this information about these basic livability questions will be provided in the leaflet. But in the meantime, not to wait for the leaflet, I mean, all this information will be provided from our side as well.
Thank you, Mikheil, and we'll happy also to share it on our website and for our network. And the next question, I would be happy to address you, Avtandil. What are your actually plans and expectations now when you have this special tax regime for the companies? And also, let's not forget that Georgia is among the only countries where the entrepreneurs and digital nomads could travel amid those pandemic times and to arrive here and relatively easily pass the border on the condition that Mikheil mentioned, just checking themselves in 72 hours for the first, I believe, 12 days. So what are your expectations? Where will be the IT industry of Georgia in 1 year?
Thank you very much for your question, and I will be very brief because in exactly 2 minutes I have to switch to another conference. We have second batch opening for 500 Startup Accelerator, and I have to participate in opening as well. So it's a very important question, and definitely that by this law we have expectations that big IT players can enter into Georgian market. So it does not mean that, like for example, in the next 3 months they will employ thousands of the Georgian IT students. Of course not. In the beginning, everything is starting. That, for example, the EPAM is coming here in Georgia. They're also hiring the local ones, but they're bringing new people. This is very important for our ecosystem development because they're bringing the knowledges, new network, new opportunities, which is very much that we are lacking here because we are still early stage ecosystem in innovation side. So we have a big expectations from this. The people who will be bringing knowledge, so they will be creating maybe your startup, they will creating the new opportunities or new products. And I think the Georgia, as you mentioned, that we opened our borders even during the pandemic times for the IT programmers. We are always opening ourselves and giving the opportunities people to work from Georgia. Weather is good, food is good, business environment is good. I think there is no like the reason actually to say no to work from Georgia, especially in this pandemic era, because you know it does not matter where you live, you still work from home. So I mean, you don't need to like the rent like a very expensive apartment in San Francisco or in Tokyo, but you can be here and then use all these opportunities that Georgia provides for you. So that's my answer. And sorry once again, I have to leave this conference.
Yeah, we will take another maybe 5 minutes of your time, but thank you for this. And Mari, I would ask you a question. It's true that this legislation is relatively new, and but there are some things that maybe should be amended there with the time. And also, it's true that always some people are happy with the new legislation and tax regime. Some people would expect for some more, but I spoke with some people, and I'll just provide one example. To qualify to get this special tax regime, it should be a legal entity that has an international experience of 2 years and more. So, for example, if Bill Gates, if he will decide to get back to the business, and he will decide to open his new entity here in Georgia, but not as a Microsoft subsidiary, his own subsidiary. This guy has without any doubt more than 30 years experience in the IT industry, but he will not get this special tax regime for his new company established here. And it's just an example of something that maybe was not taken into account in the process of working on this, or maybe it was done on purpose to see what would be the first results of the initial legislation. So what do you think should be for you as a main agency, the Ministry of Finance who works on the tax legislation in Georgia, to think or to consider amendments to the existing law, which is relatively new and is welcome?
Okay, thank you, Anatoly, again. Actually, you know, when we are introducing some changes and we are doing also extra changes and to make more clarifications here. And now we are also preparing some kind of changes on this ordinance as well, because I mentioned that these activities should be allowed only to carry out for companies which are outside of Georgia. And this is not so clear in the ordinance, because there comes also Minister of Finance, and it is written here when you are going procedural steps, and so we are going to make these kinds of modification. Besides, we are also adding here information, and maybe this will be interesting, the companies who has the status of virtual zone, they can't get the status of international company. So you have to opt for, you are going to have international company status of virtual zone status. Besides the question, so if the company has its own experience where it's operating, so it is enough details for them to provide this documentation, because I should not put all information on my presentation, but the first, it should be Georgian enterprise, but as a second, it also should be Georgian enterprise, and it should be representatives of non-resident company, and this non-resident company itself has to provide enough proof that it has himself this experience. And then also, if you are Georgian companies and you are owned more than 50% by the partners who already itself has the experience, it's also criteria that you meet this obtain. So this is in details prescribed in the ordinance, and so you see there are several criteria also. Georgian enterprise, and then you also are giving option to go further with this. But sure, we are making amendments, and we are happy also to receive opinions for what other sectors are doing, and so just to adjust on them if something is unclear.
Thank you, Mary, so much. And thank you for all our speakers today. I hope that we assisted to those who are actually attended as a guests this webinar today, and those who will watch it recorded, to understand that the real change that happens here in Georgia could be a good incentive to consider starting your operation here from Georgia, and to get all the benefits of a new tax regime, but also of great food and the great neighborhood, and also the views that exist here for centuries. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anatoly. Bye.